Hey everyone, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. I'm glad you're here. I hope that you're having a safe week. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my unbiased magic reviews. I have a bunch of reviews planned for you guys. We're going to be doing some requested reviews, some more top 5 magic reviews, so stay tuned for those. Today I'm going to be reviewing Jay Sankey's Penguin Live Act, which he filmed and put out with Penguin Magic this past December, just a few months ago.
Jay Sankey has consistently been one of the most innovative and influential performers throughout his highly successful career in magic. In this special Penguin Live appearance, Jay presents a full act comprised of close-up mentalism mixed with magical methods, all delivered in his signature style. He begins with a demonstration of dowsing with a spoon, having the spectator use it to touch a few random cards, which turn out to be a perfect 4 of a kind. Then he takes it further by repeating the process face up. And even though 4 random cards are touched, they change into the 4 aces. Next, to demonstrate his own psychic powers, he makes 3 predictions and has his helpers stop him at 3 cards in the deck. So, how well do you think he did? Perfect, as it turns out.
I did get the first one. I was lucky with that one. Shuffle deck, he says stop where he wants. I got the first one right. And I did get the second one right, okay? But this last one I also got right as well.
Of course, Jay teaches you exactly how to accomplish this amazing feat using his wonderful utility move, the Wichita Slip. He also shows you his neat handling for a remote control version of spoon bending, mixing a magical moment with a sign drawing affecting a real object at a distance. There's also a killer impromptu stunt with borrowed coins where you demonstrate the extraordinary sensitivity of your fingertips by identifying the dates on the coins. Also, how to predict when a person will say stop.
You're sure?
Simply using an innocent post-it notepad.
Stop. Right there, and if you went through this whole pad, you would find it is the only one that would stop me in. Thank you.
Plus, you can make 3 people think they all selected the same card that's been in your pocket the whole time using an ordinary, unprepared shuffle deck.
1, 2, 3, name it. Now, the weird thing is that's the one card from the very beginning that was in my pocket.
Finally, Jay ends with a cool triple prediction you can do with a common, popular game board.
Here we do have North Carolina Academy, and the last but not least, even when we shuffled and dealt them all, we've got New York. Thank you, Jerry.
You're sure to find quite a few routines you'll love in this lecture filled with solid, highly effective, entertaining mental tricks right here at Penguin Live.
I'm Jay Sankey, and this is my act.
Alright, if you guys have been into magic for any length of time, then you probably have 1 or 2 Jay Sankey effects. He's a very prolific Canadian magic creator and performer. He's literally put out hundreds of magic effects. So for $40, you can get this Penguin Live Act, which was filmed in Las Vegas in an unusual Penguin Live Act format. Dan Harlan is your host, and for 30 minutes, Jay Sankey performs 11 routines, and then he goes over the explanations of them with Dan Harlan. Now, I'm going to argue to you guys that you should stay away from this Penguin Live Act. It was a very big disappointment, and there was nothing new here. Overall, I felt that none of the effects gelled together. The whole project felt very rushed. I'm going to give you guys an idea of what you can expect to find. I'm just going to touch on a few highlights, but just the idea that he performed 11 effects in about 30 minutes, it goes to show you that these effects were rushed. There was really no patter. They were all overall very weak effects. And even the discussion with Dan Harlan felt rushed. Most of the time, these guys, after they're done performing, they sit down, they talk a little bit with Dan Harlan, and here he just bypassed all that. They just rushed into the explanations. The teaching felt very superficial of the routines. He kind of just went over them. And like I said before, none of this material is new. Most of this material is 10 years plus older in length. I mean, there's stuff that he took from his old Boris Pocus DVD. You can find all of this material either In the definitive Sankey 3-volume set, which was put out by Vanishing Ink about 8 years ago now, his DVD Best Mentalism, which is actually a lot better than this lecture, 22 Blows to the Head, or Boris Pocus. That's where all of this stuff pretty much came from. Now, Jay Sankey tried to sell this as a mentalism act, although really none of this stuff was mentalism per se. You're gonna see 7 card effects that were all overall pretty simple, and then 4 miscellaneous effects that just felt like they didn't fit there at all. And so Jay Sankey himself, normally he has a lot to say, he jokes around a lot, he's a funny guy because he was also a comedian, but here it just seems like you can kind of see his age starting to set in, because he really wasn't even funny like he usually is. Some of the jokes he cracked on the spectators, I thought they were tasteless overall. So that's pretty much what you can expect. Now I'm just going to touch on a couple of the effects just to give you guys an idea of what you can expect. Some of the stuff I won't even mention just because it just isn't even worth mentioning. So one of the effects on there, one of the early effects he teaches, it's called 3 times Lucky. It's an effect I would never perform. You can find it in the book, The Definitive Sankey. He writes down 3 predictions, and then he has somebody select 3 cards. He does the same move 3 times. Literally, it's the oldest card move that he's ever come up with, the Wichita Slip Force, which he put out on his DVD, I think Revolutionary Card Magic. It's so old nowadays, so I'm really shocked that he actually started out his lecture. That was one of the pieces he started out his lecture with. He goes into an effect called Formal Affair, which he seemed to really like a lot, and this came directly from his DVD 22 Blows to the Head, where he has a spoon drawn on a card, and then he takes a spoon and puts it in a handkerchief, has somebody hold it, and then next thing you know, the spoon has bent on the card, and then it's bent in the handkerchief. It uses that out to lunch principle, and it's an effect that I would never ever perform. I don't really think it's fooling to anyone, but he seems to like it a lot. I'm sure he's put it out on other DVDs and projects as well. The one effect on there you may like is called Hypersensitive, and that's a mental epic type effect, but he uses loose change, where what he does is somebody takes out some loose change, or he fishes in there and pulls out a coin at random. He mentally divines the date on it, he checks it, and then he does it again with 2 more coins. When he's done, he can hand out the 3 coins and they can be examined. So I think that's one of the only effects on this lecture that you might want to do. And the good news is this, you don't need the lecture for it because it was published in the book, The Definitive Sankey. So if you have the book, you can just check it out there. You're probably going to get so much more value for your money there instead. Some other effects that he went over on here, just to touch on them, there was an effect called Stop Me Here, where he takes a post-it notepad and he starts taking the pages off until somebody stops him, and then he takes the next page and he shows the person that on the back of it it's written Stop Me Now or Stop Me Here, and then the other pages can be examined. There's nothing written on them. Now this effect he actually put out on a business card magic DVD. I think it was called Miracles with Business Cards. I don't even remember anymore because it's so old. And he used business cards instead of a post-it pad. I think the effect was better with the business cards. I wouldn't do it with the post-it pad, and even when he performed it, you can see him struggling to take the pages off. So I think the business card version is better, and him changing the prop doesn't make the effect newer. I don't know, or just better. So I didn't really like that at all. Probably the best card effect that he goes over is called Group Hypnosis, where he takes a playing card, puts it in his pocket, divides the deck into 3 piles. He has 3 spectators. One spectator selects a card from one packet, they look at it, the other one does the same with the middle packet, and the third spectator does the same with the last packet. And then he has all 3 spectators at the same time name the card they're thinking of. They all say the same card. As a kicker, he mentions that the card is not even in the pack because it's in his pocket from the start and he pulls it out of his pocket. So it's probably the best card effect that he goes over on this lecture, and just like I said before, you can learn it from the book, The Definitive Sankey. So another item that you can learn from the book, and you don't need the lecture for that. Finally, the last piece that he teaches on there is called the Monopoly Mystery, and the reason I'm even mentioning this is because this is another effect that he took from the DVD 22 Blows to the Head, and he changed the prop. On 22 Blows to the Head, it was called Shuffle Cut Deal, and there he was using playing cards to predict 3 cards. And here what he's done is he's used the cards from the Monopoly game and he's predicting 3 properties on the board. So again, this is another recycled effect from one of his old DVDs, which changing the prop doesn't make the effect any better. I think that the effect was just fine the way that he taught it before, and I really just didn't think that it looked good, especially because in a Monopoly game, those cards aren't held in a box. So I thought that that really looked strange. So I didn't even like the way it looked, the way he performed it. I think the effect looks and plays so much better with just a deck of cards. So that's pretty much what you guys can expect to find on this Penguin Live act. Like I said earlier, it was really a big disappointment because Jay Sankey is such a prolific magic creator that I'm really shocked he didn't actually come up with anything new. You know, most magic lectures have some recycling of old material. This is complete recycling. So I was very disappointed. The sound quality was hideous. You won't be able to get over the sound on this as well. I recommend you totally stay away from this Penguin Live act. I would give this the lowest rating I can, 1 out of 5 stars. You're not going to get anything out of this. If you are interested in Jay Sankey's material, I would recommend instead you pick up the 3-volume set, The Definitive Sankey. I think you're going to just get so much more for your money that way instead. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments, please just leave them below. Thanks for tuning into my magic review, and I'll see you guys on the next one.